Thanks for tuning in to ESPN Cricinfo Matchday T20 as the Kolkata Knight Riders keep alive their hopes of qualifying for the playoffs of IPL 2019. That after they beat the Kings 11 Punjab by 7 wickets in Mohali, and thereby they stay alive. But Kings 11's hopes of now progressing to the final four have gone. They have no chance of making it to the playoffs, which means their season has come to an end. Here is how it panned out. Punjab batting first, 183 for 6. Sam Curran, 55 not out. But then Kolkata in reply had Shubman Gill coming really good, 65 not out. Mohammad Shami getting 1 for 15. Kolkata getting to their target with 2 overs to spare. We're joined by Dan Vettori and Murli Karthik in the studio. Guys, so much to talk about. You had an animated Dinesh Karthik, you had a Shubman Gill coming in, and a performance for KKR where Andre Russell didn't do much, Dan. So positives galore for KKR?
Yeah, I think so. I think at half-time I thought it was a good score. I think the way that Kings 11 have played in Mohali, and I thought they behind Sam Curran, they batted superbly to get to that score. And then for KKR just to win it so comfortably with 2 overs to spare was a little bit of a surprise. I thought it would be a lot closer than that, but Lynn, Shubman Gill were fantastic. They set it all up, they gave the impetus and the momentum to KKR, and they were too good in the end.
Shubman Gill, how good was he?
Yeah, it looks like a class act, doesn't he? Just looks very comfortable, isn't phased, isn't hurried, unflappable sort of a character, and I think it's just good to see him bat the way he has, top of the order. I just hope that he goes from strength to strength, and whenever he gets that next India opportunity, he just grabs it with both hands, because he did get one in New Zealand, I think early days yet, but in the IPL this year he's been really good.
More on the batting of Kolkata. Of course, a few points we're going to be talking about from that game in Mohali. The first one being Gill and Lynn guiding KKR's easy chase. Chris Lynn coming good over here. Dan, of course, this was his best performance in the power play so far.
Yeah, I think we talked about it in the mid-innings break that we thought that Lynn would come out very aggressive, being the penultimate game, a good wicket and that 180 score on the board. So he knew exactly what he was going to do. And I think he's going to be aggressive from ball one. But he picked his targets as well. He knew who he wanted to take on. And once he got that little bit of momentum, he's incredibly difficult to stop. And then Shubman Gill at the other end, just complimenting him. It was almost like he didn't play a reckless shot at all. He just played every ball that came to him, real calmness to it. And I think that was on the back of how well Lynn played, but it was fantastic to watch.
Shubman Gill making a case for himself to open the innings on a regular basis?
Absolutely. I think once you're given the chance and the way they've gone about it, definitely yes. I don't think you don't want to. Obviously, if things go a bit different, then you have to relook, but not at the moment. I think he's batted beautifully. Just so easy on the eye, just a clean striker of the ball without overdoing it. I think that's what stood out, and the way he put Ravichandran Ashwin under pressure, because Ashwin literally that over, he bowled a couple of wides, didn't know which line to bowl to him, bowled a few quicker ones as well. And if you can do that to a top quality spinner, you know that you have arrived.
You reckon they're a little too late to come to that conclusion of making him open?
Look, these things are very difficult to...
Could be the difference in them qualifying or not.
Yeah, absolutely. But these are tough calls. Sometimes can you make it early on in the season? At 7, sometimes you're assigned a different role, and then you realize that people who are playing other roles are not doing that. And look, people like Jack Callis are like super experienced, and they know the game inside out. So yeah, what goes on inside team dynamics for us to sit outside and talk from a million miles away, we see it differently, they see it differently. So it's tough to make that call.
Dan, we were talking about Andre Russell off air, him coming in now at number 4 tonight, in a situation which he's not used to. It was a new situation, and the situation, you'd say, got the better of him. A good delivery as well, cramped him for space.
No, I mean, I think he played the right way. I think it was 24 or 14 balls. He came out, he looked to be aggressive. So I think the style of play didn't change from what he's brought to the table so far. And I think that's always the challenge when you're used to batting 6 or 7 and coming in with 4 or 5 overs left. You can play with that carefree attitude, and he took that into the early part of his innings. And I think that once again took a little bit of pressure off Shubman Gill. He could just keep playing, keep ticking the score over and playing good cricket shots. And Russell just played his natural game. And even though it wasn't as explosive as some of his previous innings, it was still an important one.
Is this the order you would stick with as far as KKR is concerned?
I think, like I've mentioned in the past, I always think it's timing for Andre Russell. There's going to be times when...
But with Shubman up top and
Shubman, yeah, definitely.
Just the entire...
I think so. I think that, once again, Kartik touched on it, the KKR management to make a call, to make a decision and to be rewarded with a couple of great performances is a reflection on all the thought and process they put into it.
On to our second point now, and that is pretty evident. The question's there for you, Kartik. Did KXIP lose the game with the bat or ball?
It's a tough one, yeah. Look, both of us sitting here, we felt that was a good enough score, and again, those things hinge upon the fact that Kings 11 have done well. 183 is a good score, but the fact is that these guys do chase well, and if there is any amount of dew or the ball is coming on to the bat, which Ashwin definitely alluded to, that the wicket was good for batting, and if guys take it away from you the way Shubman Gill and Cricinfo played, I think you'll have to give it to them.
Sam Curran came into bowl in the 10th over. Would you have brought him on earlier?
Definitely. I think the thing where I think they lost it was in that power play and how aggressive Lynn was, and they needed something to counter that. And Sam Curran, for what he's known for, is swing bowling in the first and second over. And we all know the Kookaburra ball only swings for a short amount of time. And I thought he would have been the option up front to see what he can do. He said left-handers have had success against Lynn in the past, but obviously they had a game plan to save him for Andre Russell. They wanted him to bowl as soon as Andre Russell came around the wicket to him and was aggressive. But I still think 4 overs is enough to at least give him one early on to try and get one of those aggressive opening batsmen.
Sticking with the power play, you reckon Ravi Ashwin, who's got a good record of bowling in the power play, somehow underbowls himself or underutilizes himself in
Look, it was a bit surprising because he has taken on the mantle of bowling in the power play on quite a few occasions.
Yeah.
Yes, there have been instances where when he's picked Mujibur Rahman, he's given the ball to Mujib ahead of himself. But especially at Mohali, he has bowled with the new ball. So yeah, I was a bit surprised. I was still looking forward to him. I possibly thought the first over or the second over would be, in spite of Shubman Gill at the other end, I definitely thought that he would have had a go, because early on you could be an Indian batsman but still you have to move your feet against a spinner. And Ravichandran Ashwin with that new ball, I definitely thought he would use himself.
Punjab batting, I know you guys are happy with the score they set eventually, courtesy of a blitz from Sam Curran. But they had a couple of partnerships. There was Nicholas Pooran and Mandeep Singh, and then of course there was Mandeep with Sam. You reckon one of those partnerships could have been a little longer and could have gone towards somewhere around 200, which could have made a bit of a difference?
Oh, obviously would have made some difference, but it was a good score. I think they built an innings on the back of losing Gale and KL Rahul early on. I mean, that's been, I mean, they're almost like De Villiers and Kohli for RCB. They're very reliant on those two at the top of the order, and they've been very successful, I think, in the top 5 on the leaderboard for the purple cap. So when they lost those two, I still thought they put together an innings, particularly Nicholas Pooran, who remained aggressive, took on the bowlers, and then they got that shot in the arm at the end from Sam Curran, which I don't think anyone expected him to score 55 off 22 balls or whatever it was. But that got them to a score which I think was a defendable score.
Next topic that we're going to be talking about is Kolkata Knight Riders, and of course a certain Mr. Warrior who was delivering with the ball. Impressive.
Look, we've been with him in the RCB nets, and he was a lot more quicker. Am I safe in saying that?
He was quick. He swung it. He was young, and he's come into this team, and he looks good though.
He looks good. He's added something, and hopefully he's been there with teams for a long time. He definitely has the skill. He definitely has the pace. He definitely has the skill. It's just, look, with anyone, it's a question of making them feel really wanted and giving them those consistent chances, because there are certain players who get lots of chances and there are certain who just play the odd game, and then you are relegated to the reserves again, and that never does anyone's confidence any good, because it's that kind of a format. Be it batsmen who are wanting to play for your team, if they get out, you need to back them, or bowlers who are trying to do certain things for your team, you need to back them.
Dan, would you have tried him a little earlier in the tournament, given that Prasidh Krishna was going for quite a few?
Well, I think that's the balancing act that all teams run. That do we give players more games? Do we back them? Do we accept that they're going to have tough games and then they're going to come back, or do we keep making changes? And I think every selection meeting that happens in the IPL is trying to work through that. And I think because KKR started so well, then they would have wanted to back that team. And then it's sort of got away from them with the 6 losses in a row. So Sandeep Warrior would have always been in the back of their minds. They would have always thought about giving him an opportunity. And now that he's been able to come in and perform it, the thing I like about him is it looks like he's added some skill to his game. That knuckleball that got Cal Rahul out was a fantastic ball, and it's braved the bowler as well in that situation. So when you put a performance together like that, then they're going to give him lots of chances. So he can look forward to the last game and potentially the playoffs for them.
So basically, it's not too much of chopping and changing around, but just back bowlers not going by the performance on the day and then seeing them over a longer period of time.
Yeah, I think you've got to be in that. You've got to be in that room to understand the player, where he's at, his psyche, how confident he is. So there's not one rule for all.
Yeah.
There's just an understanding that sometimes we're going to have to make changes and sometimes we're going to back players. And I think the good team members, the good team players, they all understand that. They know it's not easy to select a team and they're just ready when they have to go.
And of course, you had Sunil Narine, who bowled 3 fantastic overs. Just the 4th one where, of course, Sam Curran hit him around. But those 3 overs were just top of the line.
Yeah, good. Yeah, absolutely. Because he is that kind of a bowler, and he would, again, certain bowlers have their own not certain bowlers, all bowlers have their own reputation and pride at stake. And somebody who's been a champion bowler in this format for such a long time, he wouldn't have been happy with whatever has happened right through the tournament. And again, these are the kind of bowlers who don't rely exactly on surfaces to bowl well. So yeah, very good overs from Sunil Narine.
On to our next point, which is qualification scenarios for the playoffs. First, we'll just show you the points table, gentlemen, because as things stand, Punjab and Bengaluru have no chance of making the playoffs. Oh, sorry, I'm wrong in saying that. Oh, yeah, I am right in saying that. Punjab have a mathematical chance. That's what I'm being told. They need to win by about 160 runs, which is not happening.
Which is 3 games.
So, of course, there's Hyderabad, there's Kolkata and Rajasthan. And I think the popular opinion is both of you are backing the team on 4th right now, which is Hyderabad, right?
It's that run rate. The run rate sets them apart. I think most people would back them to go and try and win in Bangalore. But it's that run rate that's really going to separate them, because if they do win, the other team is going to have to chase something incredible, and I think that's just too difficult. So every other team's relying on a Sunrisers loss.
Same thing?
Completely agree.
That, of course, was the qualification scenarios for the playoffs. As things stand, 3 teams have already sealed their spot in the playoffs for IPL 2019. There are 3 other teams that are still in contention to make the playoffs.
RR could still make it. Imagine if they won a game
what happens
tomorrow.
If everyone loses? Who's playing against who? So
No,
someone gets
if
through.
Rajasthan wins tomorrow, they reach 13.
So
if Hyderabad and Kolkata lose their next game.
If SRH wins tomorrow against RCB, they will be in prime spot of qualification since their net run rate is very superior.
Correct.
KKR need to win against MI on Sunday and hope SRH lose to RCB tomorrow. If SRH win, then KKR will have to win against MI by a massive margin to qualify, which might not be possible.
Who's Kolkata playing?
Kolkata is virtually knocked out. They're playing Mumbai.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we could see a scenario where a team gets through on 6 wins, which would be possibly unheard of in the IPL so far.
How would that happen?
If every team lost.
You mean to say that if Rajasthan won their next game, they would be on 6 wins and they'd be on 13. And if Hyderabad and Kolkata lost, then with 6 wins they would go through.
Or even if Rajasthan lost as well, because Rajasthan are playing Delhi, aren't they? So if the top 3 teams all win their games and every other team loses, we could see a team go through on 6 wins, which, like we said, is unheard of.
Who said cricketers are not good at maths? I mean...
1 to 6 is not that hard.
Okay, moving on to our next point now. And of course, the Fab Four. And Murali Karthik walked away yesterday as the winner. Here's Vettori's Fab Four. You have a total of... this is a very poor performance.
Well walk away.
Yeah, very, very poor performance.
I thought you would have done that.
Points. Now let's see what
Ashwin's not even
Karthik...
showing his face.
177. He's beaten you by more than 100 points.
That is a good net run rate.
Again, a slow clap for Mr. Karthik. So guys,
I had no hope. As soon as I saw Gill and Rahul dismissed so early, I thought my Fab Four is done today.
Won the quiz?
Fab 2.
Won the Fab Four?
He killed me in the quiz. The first 5 questions just went...
Fab Four doesn't get you anything though.
No,
Quiz
no.
gets you a bumper.
Get a hamper, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
get
right.
a hamper. So, yeah, hamper.
Yes,
so-
the hamper is shared. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, he's a nice man. He shared the hamper with us right now. Guys, Murli Karthik, Daniel Vettori, guys, thank you so much for your time. This, of course, we were talking about the game that was played out in Mohali. It was Punjab taking on Kolkata. Kolkata winning by 7 wickets.